Hi. Let's see. Hi, everyone. How are you? Thanks for joining my live journal today. Happy Easter to everyone. Thanks, everyone who's just joining right now. I see that my mom is connected. Hello, Mom. Thanks, Carson, for being my moderator, and thanks, Timea, for being my moderator too. And let's see. Hi, everyone. I already see everyone connecting from all over the world. Thanks for all the birthday wishes. Today is April 12, 2020. It's my birthday number 40. I have officially become a 40-year-old person, and I have to say it's a very nice day to be healthy, to be alive, to be with my family. I'm having a really, really happy birthday, and it's been really, really nice. One of the things that I planned for today was joining everyone, all my friends who follow me on YouTube, for this transmission. I was first greeted last night by many, many friends, and of course, Charlie and my boys. Someone says 40 is the new 25. I agree. I just wish I could go out to experience my new 25, but I'm sure that we'll be able to do that soon. So last night I was greeted by my family, my mom, many friends sent regards yesterday. This morning, Sebi and Charlie made a cake for me, and we are very, very simple people in tastes and such, except that we really like traveling. So it's been perfect so far. Then we had a quick lunch. I spoke with my mom and sister and brother in the morning. Then I had a quick lunch, and then I had the most amazing birthday surprise get together with all my friends my knitting friends from around the world. We had a small Zoom meeting and we chatted for about an hour, which was the best thing. And it made me really, really happy. And it made me realize that I never get to plan a birthday with a lot of people who I really care about, who, virtual friends who live in other countries. And I never get to plan birthday parties with them because they're far away. And today, because of this lockdown, I was able to spend that time with my friends, which was really nice. And now I get to spend it too with everyone here watching. So thank you all for joining. If you're celebrating Passover and or Easter, I hope that you had a wonderful and peaceful celebration at home. And I have a lot of knitting to talk about. So I am going to keep it in a regular journal format, and I am going to try to be looking at the questions here on the side. So far, everyone's wishing a happy birthday, and I thank you with my heart. So if I see a question about knitting, then I'll try to bring, or about anything else, I'll try to reply to that while I am talking. So first, I would like to talk about the feature pattern of today, which is my worthy pattern, and my sample is here. Yay! So I've shown this pattern a few times, this work in progress a few times here in my journal. And if you are watching my journal for the first time, perhaps you haven't seen it. So I'm going to allow myself to talk a little bit again about this project. So this is it. This pattern is called Worthy Pullover, and it was just published today on my birthday to Ravelry. And this and any other of my self-published patterns, you can get with a 25% discount as a way to celebrate my birthday. So if you get a pattern, you're sort of gifting me your support. So I appreciate that, and I thank you. So the pattern is called Worthy, and it's a color blocked sweater that is worked from the top down. So you start here with the neckband, and then you make progress from the top down, making increases for the raglan sleeve, and it's all in one piece. Someone asked me today if the fact that it was seamless meant that it's in one piece. Yes, it's in one piece. And it's knitted in the round, so you need circular needles. And so it has a few short rows here in the neckband. And you can see very clearly the neckband in the photo that I used for this, for like the thumbnail of this live. I'm wearing this sweater. And so it has a few short rows here in the neckband that I always like, so that the sweater has a better fit here in the neckline, especially if it's a round yoke. And then it has this nice lace pattern with a few bubbles that it's very delicate, and it's also in the back. And then thanks everyone for the birthday wishes. And then there are two like textured and eyelet bands down the sleeves, and there's some pattern stitches all over the sweater. So this sweater was born because last year we were talking a lot about diversity and inclusion in the knitting community, and a lot of knitters and a lot of members of our community were and still are feeling underrepresented. One of the forms of representation that often we forget about is representation in accessibility to materials. And so the discussion came up about how a lot of designs, not how, I don't think it's wrong that a lot of designs feature more expensive or more luxurious yarns, but yes, we could definitely all agree that there weren't enough designs that highlighted more affordable materials, more affordable yarn brands and yarn content. So I was challenged by someone saying, like, could you design something with a very affordable material with a cheaper yarn? And I actually think that if I can design something, I can design it with more affordable material also. So I decided to buy yarn from the States, because if like I can use and I can get a lot of cheaper materials here in Argentina, but then people might not know that they are cheap. They might still think that they are something luxurious. So I decided to purchase yarn from the States, and I chose this yarn that I use, which is Lion Brand Wool Is. The content of this yarn is 70% acrylic and 30% wool. And it took a long time to arrive because I cannot receive mail, so everything has to travel with me or a friend with the suitcase. Someone asks, can I use fingering instead of worsted for warmer climate? So, Gail, yeah, technically, if you can get gauge with fingering weight yarn, which I don't think you can, yes, you can use fingering weight yarn. It will be a completely different fabric. It will be an open fabric. So the thing with changing the weight of the yarn to such a dramatic difference is that you have to modify the pattern to fit you. And I don't recommend, in this case, just going for a bigger size and using fingering weight yarn, because this is worsted Aran weight. I don't recommend picking a bigger size, and this is the why. When I design a pattern, I graded to a lot of sizes, very small and very big ones. But all of the sizes have more or less the same neckline, because as women and men, we don't have bigger necks or bigger heads the bigger we are. We basically have the same, we basically need the same neckline. I make the bigger sizes sometimes slightly bigger, just so that it's a little bit more flattering if it's a boat neck or something like a jewel neck. But if it's a regular crew neck, then most of the sizes have the same size for the neckband. Otherwise, the big sizes end up with a neckline that it's not, that it doesn't fit well. Therefore, if you go to a smaller, like to a thinner yarn and a smaller gauge, what happens is that you will end up with a neckband, a neckline that it's too small for you. So you would have to redesign the pattern and to figure out a different stitch count for all the sections in your pattern if you wish to use a fingering weight. Since this is Colorwork, is this charted or written as well? I am blind and unable to read charts, but I would love to knit this sweater. Happy birthday from Las Vegas. So, Mariana, this is not Colorwork. This is just a color block sweater. So the top part of the sweater is in one color and the bottom part of the sweater is in a different color, but the instructions are the same. You just switch yarns halfway there, and the pattern is both charted and written, so you can follow the directions with your reader, with the reader that you use for any text, and you can definitely follow the instructions for the stitch pattern. So I was talking about the yarn, and I decided to use this yarn. I decided to use a yarn that is identified as something affordable. Acrylic is a fiber that it's easy to care for, it's easy to find, and also it is perceived as something affordable. So that's why I didn't want to just use a cheap wool. I wanted to use acrylic to highlight the beauty of acrylic and to make it look really, really good. So as I was designing, I first started with something simpler because I like simple things. But then I thought I am not really giving my best effort to this yarn, and I decided to go for something like more elaborate, and that's why I picked the sand stitch and I picked this beautiful lace pattern down the front. So that is why I called it my worthy pullover. The sizes are from extra small to 5 extra large. And the biggest has a finished measurement of 63 inches. And I recommend about 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. Marina asks if you can buy the pattern in Argentina. Yes, you can, but I always forget to add my patterns to my website. So as soon as I do that, then you are able to check out with Mercado Pago in my website, which also will save you from paying the tax that we pay when we make purchases abroad. Did blocking change the feel or the drape of the fabric? Yes, absolutely. So first of all, I have to say that I don't mind working with, I'm going to tilt it down so you can look at the sweater while I talk. I have to say that I don't mind really knitting with acrylic. I don't find it unpleasant unless it has to be really, really bad acrylic so that I find it unpleasant. So I really enjoy knitting with acrylic too, but this yarn especially is very nice. And it felt really nice in my hands, but still, like for example, in these parts of the pattern, because of the acrylic content, you could see that this pearl column was tighter, and you could see all the lace stitches and all the eyelets very close together, and that made me think that probably it was going to be hard to block. So what I decided to do was to wet block it first. So I first soaked it. Gail, I will explain positives in 1 second. So first I decided to soak it in soapy water and then like pin it out and let it dry and see how it looked, and if it needed another level of blocking, then I would probably Felicia, this one doesn't peel at all. It's really nice. This acrylic doesn't peel. It's really, really, really nice. And I've heard super good reviews of this one. And also merino and cashmere peels a lot too. But like I was going to iron it with steam. Like I was not going to press the garment, but I was going to steam it from a distance to see if I could relax it. But I didn't need to do that. I just wet blocked it, I soaked it, and then it really softened up, and it changed the drape. It is still, it's not as open as it would be with 100% merino or a superwash yarn, but it's definitely changed and it's more even. So I think that perhaps the 30% wool content in this yarn helps it stay like this. I did nothing else than a regular wet blocking. Then Gail says, can you explain 40 inches? Would I then need a 43 inches, or is that already included in the pattern? So when you pick a pattern, what I recommend is that you first identify what your bust measurement is and make sure that you measure your bust, not that you know that you're a 40. Just make sure that you measure yourself. And then look for a size that has a finished measurement that is like 3 inches bigger than your bust measurement. In this case, you have to look for the size that is maybe 42, 44, 43, so around that. If you always feel like you're more comfortable with maybe 5 or 6 inches of positives, then you already know, like when you look at the table of finished measurements or you look at the schematic, that is the measurement that your sweater will have when you finish it. So if you don't like any ease, then you can go and pick a size that will measure 40 inches. And if you want the sweater to look as it's shown in the photos that I'm wearing, then you have to pick a size that is 2 to 4 inches bigger than you are. Do you think a 100% acrylic would be okay? Then I could steam block it if needed. Yes, absolutely. Some of my testers have used 100% acrylic. Just for the purpose of this design, I didn't ask my testers to use any cheap yarns. Like they were encouraged to use whatever yarns they wanted. Some of them used really luxurious yarns. Other went and bought the same yarn that I used, and others just looked for something in their stash that was economical and that also could be perceived as something affordable. Some of them are 100% acrylic and they look great. The only thing with steam blocking acrylic, I haven't tried it here in my sweater, but I know that you have to be super careful. By no means let that iron touch your sweater, and also make sure if you steam block it, I would say I wouldn't get my iron closer than maybe 3 inches to my garment, because I have tried it with other acrylic projects, and they have actually melted my fibers even if they weren't touching the yarn. So be very, very careful. I would say try it from the wrong side and start getting it closer and closer very, very slowly. And another thing about steam blocking is that it needs time also. So don't steam it and then move it. Make sure that you steam it maybe pin it down before you steam it, and let it completely cool down before you move the sweater, so that whatever you're steaming and the relaxation that you're applying to the fibers, you can actually it can actually stay like that. When you use the bigger pattern for the ease, does it not make it bigger in the shoulders? That is a question by Sharon. And no, Sharon, that's why we designed them, especially with that is. It's not picking a bigger size than you are, it's picking a size that is designed for you with this amount of positive ease. So the amount of positive ease is usually added here in the bust only, so the shoulders are designed for you, and then we add the positive ease here in the shoulders. Everything is designed to fit as it fits in the photo. So I wouldn't say that's the rule. There are patterns that are designed with no ease, and then some people decide to go up a size to make them more roomier and to have them fit loose on the bust, and then in those cases the shoulders are big. But there are also patterns that are designed with the positive ease, and all the proportions are adjusted so that they work. Do you recommend doing a swatch in the main lace pattern? I don't think it makes a difference. I wrote out the instructions for the texture stitch pattern that is called sand stitch. So you can go ahead and swatch in this stitch pattern. And if it works out, then you can be confident that the lace pattern will work. Let's see if there are any more questions about this one. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining, if you're joining right now, and thanks everyone for the birthday wishes. So I'll talk about my finished objects that I finished during these weeks. I think it's been something like 3 weeks since I last broadcasted a live knit night. So how is the new interpretations working out? You are Vera able to get it done this year? So interpretations is working out great. I actually have a few things that are going to be for that to show you today. Vera and I are going to make interpretations. What is probably certain by now is that we're not going to be able to photo shoot together. So actually Vera and I were chatting earlier today. She was part of a group call for my birthday, and I was telling her that staying at home, it's making me get creative with my shooting locations because we are not allowed to go to the street. So I'm thinking that perhaps in the book, if this continues by then we'll have a pattern shot in the bathroom, and then another pattern shot here in the living room, and then one in the patio and one in the kitchen. We'll see. Interpretations this year is going to be definitely something interesting to write about and to read about. I think that this year 2020 will leave a long-lasting mark in everyone's story. Whatever you do for a living is going to leave a mark in your story. So we're going to make it work this year. Definitely Pom Pom is our publisher, and Pom Pom is also checking with us and making sure that we have everything we need for that. So we are going to have interpretations ready later this year. So speaking of finished objects, I have 2 finished objects to show you. One is from my mom and one is from me, and they're both the same. So let's see. So I finished these socks. These are mine and these are mom's, and we did a virtual knit along because we were not knitting in the same place, but it's how our knit alongs work, right? So these are mine. These socks are from Line Sockbook, and they are the, hold on, I always forget the name of these socks. I can never keep them. Somerset socks. So they are part of, where can I get interpretations? Donna, interpretations, you can get them as ebooks on Ravelry, and you can get them as printed books. I don't know if there are any left over, but you can get them from many yarn shops, and you can get them from Pom Pom Magazine's website. So these are the socks that Mom and I were knitting along. And so we both used the same yarn. She sent me hers so that I could show them. So when we brought the groceries to her, she sent her socks so that I could show them in the journal. Mom's turned out slightly smaller. I think it's because she was using a smaller needle. So and she has smaller feet also. I'm huge. And so yes, but we use the same yarn. This yarn is a mohair and wool blend from a Texas farm called Independence Fiber Mill. And I actually love mine because they are creamy colored, and I've been longing for a pair of creamy colored socks for a long time. If you watch the journal often, you know that last year I made a gray pair of alpaca socks, and they were really easy and warm and cozy. And we talked a lot about those socks. Many of you were surprised that I was not using superwash or a nylon blend for socks, and neither are these. These are wool and mohair, and will probably felt, and will probably get all fuzzy and beautiful, and they'll just be perfect. So Somerset socks, the designer is Marion M, and they are in Line Sockbook on page, if you have the book, these are on page 247. So about the pattern now. So these are my first pair of toe-up socks. So I started there with a Turkish cast on, and then I knitted my way up. They have like a heel flap, like a toe-up heel flap, and they have nice pattern going on there, like that if you see the sock. I cannot say that I enjoyed working my socks from the toe up. I haven't been converted to toe up. I have to say I still prefer pretty much my regular top down sock with a reinforced heel flap. I kind of feel sad that I don't have a reinforced heel flap here, because I know that's where my socks get the most wear. Can you show the front of the sock book? Yes, I took out, it has a partial cover. It has like, I don't know the name of that. It's like a paper cover, but it's partial, and it has a sock, it has a sock photograph, but I took that out because I was just always tearing that apart every time I moved the book. So this is the book, and it's 52 Weeks of Sock by Line Magazine. And I saw their post a couple of days ago. They posted about how they have some stock of this and they ship worldwide. I live in Argentina. They ship from Finland, and it arrived in 3 days. I know that there are probably more delays now because of the difficulties in the transportation for international flights, but yeah, it arrives super quickly. So I recommend this book. I am already planning this. Actually, I want to make these slippers. They are really, really nice, because we're going to be home for so long. So we might as well make a lot of socks. I am wearing a nice linen dress today because it's kind of warm, but I always have cold feet. So I'm actually wearing woolen socks at home. And it's a dust cover. That's what it is. Thank you, Donna. It's a dust cover. It's a partial dust cover that the book has that I took out. Yeah. So what else? Someone says, I just needed my first pair of toe up and had the same reaction you did. Plus, I missed my double pin since I was using Magic Loop. I use Magic Loop for all my socks. And so that technique was not a problem for me, but I do prefer to knit top down. Someone says, where do I start the heel turn on your riverbed socks? When you finish your heel flap, you start the heel turn for the riverbed socks, which are top down, and they are also in Line sock book. The cable cardigan that you previewed recently, when is that coming out? Will that be in interpretations? My friends and I can't wait to knit it. Thank you, Lisa. That cable cardigan is not part of interpretations. It's called Monstera, and it will come out as soon as the testers are done. That is quite an involved knit. It's fingering weights, and it's a lot of cables. So neither of my testers have finished. And as soon as we're finished, we'll publish that one. I like it a lot too, and I can't wait to share it with you. She says, Cheeky Monkey says, you got to love personal quirks in knitting because I don't understand how people like knitting top down. Exactly. I think we all have our own preferences, and that's why we have to keep putting out patterns out there, because people like to knit different things in different ways and in different stages of their lives. So that's I think that's one of the wonderful things about knitting. We can all do it the way we want, and no way is better than the other. And the most amazing thing is that usually we get the same results. The one skein shawl will come out next. That is called Venezia, and it will come out next, but I don't have a release date for any of my future patterns. I am not a planner. I don't plan my releases like that. And I actually decided on Friday that I was going to publish my pattern today, my Worthy pattern. So I sent an email to my tech editor to see if she could quickly edit it so that we had it for today, because I wanted to celebrate my birthday with a new pattern. So nothing is really planned out here. So Somerset socks, the pattern is impeccably written. I think the socks are beautiful. I actually think this pattern that Marian chose is gorgeous. Check this out. You can see it better in Mom's sock. It's so nice and so delicate, and so I super recommend. I just don't think that they have convinced me to change my method for top down. What's about Mom? She says. Coco KP says, what about Mom? Is she okay? Mom is super okay. Actually, she was watching a few minutes ago. I don't know if Mom is still watching. She sometimes gets super bored with my videos, so she logs out, and sometimes she watches them later, but sometimes she doesn't. But she's okay. Mom is okay, being isolated in her home, and she's super healthy, and she's super fine. Maybe I will try to next journal, maybe instead of doing a live video, I might try to record with Mom with a split screen, but instead of doing that plus the live streaming, which will be very difficult because of internet connections, we will do a recorded version of our journal and then upload it to YouTube. The difference is that you won't be able to ask questions like you're doing now. Is the one skein shawl the same as your diamond-shaped shawl you showed a few shows ago? Yes, that's the one, and it's coming next. Mom is online. Yay, Mom! Yay! I can't believe it. You have been online for 35 minutes already. That is amazing. Thanks. So my next finished object that I want to show you is a shawl that is not blocked, but it's finished. I haven't blocked it because I think I will block it when I'm ready to photo shoot. So because I'm lazy, I don't want to do it twice. So I'm going to just block it when I'm ready to photo shoot. So this is a shawl I designed for Interpretations 7. It's going to come at the end of the year if we are lucky. And it's a fade shawl, and it has some eyelets and some like zigzagging lace at the end. It's very simple. It's very relaxing to. To knit, and I use 3 colors. I use green. All of them are by Barnyard Knits, and let me see if I remember the names. So the green might be Leaf. I remember of her soft yarn. I'm the worst today. Leaf, Flowering, Dogwood, and Renaissance. Thank you, Kim. I was wondering if she was online. And what is your base called? Well, it's the sock base yarn. I think it has some nylon. And so she helped me put together this beautiful fade when I was at Vogue Knitting Live. She was in the last booth of that floor, and I got to spend some time with her, and I got to spend some time actually choosing my yarn, and I wanted something that wasn't just gray into green or gray into more gray. I wanted something that was color, and Kim really helped me put together this, which I think is the most perfect fade ever for 3 skeins. I love it. It's the sock fingering, for those wondering. And yeah, knitting and our wonderful community is this thing keeping me sane in this weird. For me, I think I haven't been in touch with my other groups as much as I've been in touch with my knitting groups. Everything that's meaningful to me has a lot to do with my knitting, and I am forever grateful for all of you. Especially when I was knitting this yarn that I picked with Kim there in New York, I was thinking, when will we be able to do that again? When will we be able to, go to a show and like hug people and be surrounded by the people you want to meet and get to buy yarn in person? I'm really missing that. And Kim says she will have kids when we release. Thanks for that. And yeah, so it makes me really appreciate and not take for granted all the opportunities that I had to visit with friends. So I haven't named it yet. This will be out at the end of the year with our book. It might be photographed in the bathroom. We never know. Yes, so I probably won't show it to you again until the book comes out. But one of the things that I love about this year's version of Interpretations is that Vera and I decided to make it a bit more open. Usually for Interpretations, we tend to keep all the projects a secret, and we only unveil the book when everything is ready and photographed. And I have been especially missing sharing with everyone the design process behind all the interpretations. What happens is that when we release the book, you have 12 designs to look at, and then you cannot talk about each one individually very much because people get tired and they feel overwhelmed. So you end up, putting the book out there and just talking briefly about this design that took just as much time as any other of your individual designs. And therefore, I like that this year I can start showing you a little bit of, how we make interpretations happen. It's not just getting together and photographing. It's a lot more work behind the scenes. Choosing the yarns, and every design is just as special as every other pattern that Vera and I put together. Thank you for taking time out from your own birthday to spend it with all of us. Well, honestly, I think it's like I couldn't be happier. I have right now 553 people. Thanks also for cheering me up with my bathroom shots. I take a lot of bathroom shots. If you have ever test needed for me, or all my friends know that I love my bathroom shots. I try everything on in my bathroom. And so they are quite a regular thing for me, but I don't and I put them on my stories a lot, but I don't usually put them on all the time. So my other is getting dark out here, but I don't know if there's a better place for me to be right now. Maybe, let's see, maybe I'll go outside. No, I'll have all my things here. If it's okay, if it's not too dark, I'll just stay here. Okay, Carson, that's okay. So my other finished object is the sweater that I started last. This is the sweater that I've been working on for the past 2 weeks. And if you tuned in for my last live video, I had only just started here the top portion of my sweater. It was going to be something completely different. This was going to be a simple cardigan. What I had decided was that it was going to have this sequence of colors. It's not very noticeable, but I use 4 different colors of mohair. So we have color 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. 4 of them. I think probably in the sleeve you can see that better. You start with the darkest, and then 2, 3, and 4. And this is 1 strand of Isair Alpaca 2 and 1 strand of mohair by Shibui Knits. And the mohair is the color that I actually changed. Instead of changing the main yarn and keeping the mohair, I kept the main yarn and I changed the mohair, and it was going to be a simple cardigan with a boxy fit and very, very skinny sleeves. The way I like my sleeves when I make a boxy sweater is like very skinny. And as I was starting, so I don't know if you noticed that I went offline for like 2 or 3 weeks with my journal, and I wasn't in my best mood. There were some things going on inside me. Probably some of them had to do with my turning 40. So I feel that my just sweaters, everything that I designed, or most of things, have a meaning. Most of the time, I have something to say about why I designed this particular project. And I felt that during this very, very meaningful time, this time that inspires so many feelings of being grateful for being okay, and being sad, being scared, being happy that you can stay at home, or being happy that you can go out because you couldn't stand staying at home. All of these feelings are exacerbated during this time. And I've seen everyone reaching out and trying to connect and trying to stay active. And I just felt like during this very, very meaningful time, I was knitting something that was not meaningful and that didn't mean anything for me. And it was just another cardigan, and that I wouldn't be able to say anything about this cardigan. So I decided to create a chart. And well, at the time when I started this sweater, it was very clear to me that the whole world was, going through the pandemic in the same way, and that, the best that we could do to help the world was what we are doing now, staying at home, and just staying at home and not going outside, and keeping your distance if you have to go outside. And that is what the whole world is doing. And that is the thing that we are doing together to save the planet. So I wanted to do a chart that said all together, and that would remind me of this time that we're fighting this all together, fighting it in the only way we can, right? And then also during these weeks, I have been feeling very blessed that I have a little piece of, that I have a patio, a backyard where I can have some plants and you know, keep me entertained, and they give me something that that I can take care of. You know, I can tend to my plants every day, and they're grateful and they flourish for me. So I wanted to do that a little tribute to my garden, to my patio, by adding these floral motifs on top, and then these little flowers, and then some little leaves falling and flowers, and yes, so it turned out really nice. I'm going to put it on for you to see how it looks. I think that I nailed the tension for the color work. I was very afraid because I had some longer floats that I wasn't sure they were going to work out, but I think that it blocked beautifully and it looks very, very even. And so let's see, there it is. And it has the same chart in the back. It says all together and all together in the front. And so I just finished blocking it today. I'm going to try to write the pattern. I don't know how I am going to work out all the sizes with this all together motif. But probably I'm going to add some flowers for the bigger sizes. I'm going to add some flowers on the sides. So the yarn that I use for the body of my sweater is, as I said, is Alpaca 2 and Silk Cloud by Shibui Knits. And then sorry that I move my camera all the time. The hot pink is Pretty in Pink by Walk Collection. And it's her Studio Rustic Fingering by Neighborhood Fiber Company, and the color is Del Rey. I used very little yarn, very, very little yarn. I think that I used, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 50-gram skeins of the alpaca, and so it's under 200 grams of the main yarn, and then yes, I needed 4 small skeins of mohair for the background. I would say that the background, you don't need to do the color changes. You can definitely do like a single color, and with merino, like you can use you don't even need to use the mohair. You can use a fingering weight. No problem. I was just fixated on using that sequence of alpaca and mohair, and I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use these for the background, because otherwise I will keep trying to find ideas for this yarn combo, but it's absolutely not necessary to preserve that color block sequence that I used. So yes, and yes, so I hope to write this soon. So I had 3 finished objects for today, which is more than I had been hoping for, because I hadn't been knitting very much. So thanks everyone for all the happy birthdays that I'm seeing in the chat room. Thank you all, and thanks for everyone joining in right now. I am allergic to mohair. Could I just use a DK weight instead? Carla, you can use a fingering weight, because the gauge that I achieved is a fingering weight gauge, and actually all the color sections in hot pink and yellow are made with just the merino. I didn't carry the mohair there. So the mohair filled up anyway. It looks like it's all mohair, but I didn't use mohair for the color work sections. So you can just use any fingering weight that you have, any fingering weight. The gauge is fine for fingering weight too. I would like to make your traveler tunic. How would you suggest you go about making it longer? Just keep knitting. And everyone for the happy birthday wishes. So now I have my works in progress with me. I have picked up this old friend. I picked it up a couple of days ago to start working on it again. This is a cardigan sweater that I am making using Madeline Tosh. Yeah, probably. Oh, I dropped all the stitches. Give me 1 sec, because if I don't pick them up right now, it will be a mess. There we go. So this is a cardigan with a very interesting construction. I wish I was like halfway there on my rows. This cardigan is built from the side to the center, like from here to here, and the front and the back are work at the same time. So this is like this. So eventually, let's see. Eventually, where are you? Eventually, I will join these two sides together. Oh, I'm terrible at showing you. Eventually, I will join these together like that, and it will be my side of the sweater. And then I have, oh, maybe I need to show you guys what I mean. Sorry, I'm not, no, that are these ones. And it's going to have a pleat in the back. So I need to find a way to, it's a mess. It's one of my construction crazy sweaters that I really like. And I had a band so because I am using Tosh Tweed by Madeline Tosh. I said that. The color is way more blue than it looks here. It's a lot brighter than this. It's really nice. And it's called Arctic. And for a moment, this is a better representation. So for a moment, I thought that Tosh was going to discontinue the tweed base, because when they did the transition over to Jimmy Bean's wool, they said that they might discontinue this base, and I was already working on this design, and I felt like, oh, of course I could publish it anyway, but then I don't know, I just lost my mojo over this sweater. But I have picked it up. I had to decipher what I was doing because I hadn't taken any notes of this, but yes, but I picked it up again. Someone asks, is it fingering? Yes, this is fingering weight yarn by Madeline Tosh. It's called Tosh Tweed. And it's going to be also drop shoulder-ish cardigan. Yeah, so that is one thing that I'm working on. As soon as I reach the center of the back, I have to put everything on hold and I have to start the other side. So it's gonna take a while, but I'm happy. I'm not working on any other complicated patterns at the moment because I finished my shawl that I had to chart. I finished my Colorwork sweater. So now I can focus on this one. Then that is, I am also working on an attempt to make a mystery knit along. But no, the altogether pattern will not be a part of the interpretations. If someone is asking for that, no, that is my personal pattern and it will be ready as soon as I write it and test it. The other thing I'm working on is I'm trying to make a mystery knit along. I'm trying to make a mystery wrap. It's working out kind of, but I'm always very self-conscious of making something as a mystery because I'm never sure if it's worthy. I don't know if it's as interesting a starting point. So I'm like, oh, I don't know. So before announcing that I'm going to do a mystery knit along, I am going to finish that thing and I'm going to show it to Julie probably. And if Julie decides that it's worth mysterying it, we're going to mystery it. And then, and then I'm working on, Mom is working on this. So this is for interpretations. And Mom is actually helping me with the knitting. This is a cardigan that is work from the top down. And we are color blocking it. And it has, it's an in-between drop shoulder and a setting sleeve. I mean, it's a setting sleeve, but it's wide enough that the shoulders will fit dropped. And it has a V-neck, it's a cardigan. And so this is how it's looking so far. So it's still very short, and this is the sweater that I was wearing on my toilet selfie photo that I showed on Instagram a couple of days ago. The yarn is, this is for interpretation, so this one won't be ready until the end of the year. The yarn is by La Bien Aimée. It's Merino Sports, and this is, the yellow is not Yellow Brick Road, this is maize. It's not as bright as Yellow Brick Road. The brown is caramel and the pink is esme. So this is the thing. This, I don't know, but this was going to be a 5-color long cardigan with pockets. So the other colors that were going to be in this sweater are Artemisia, I think this is, and I have no idea what this one was called. This is a dark green, right? So we still had 2 more stripes to go for this, but everyone loved the color combination as I showed it with only 3 colors, and everyone seemed to how do I say it? It's not Yona the color Villa, but it's different one. Everyone seemed to think that the sweater was finished, which made me think that oh, someone's singing in the garden. Which made me think that maybe you guys like it the way it is with only 3 colors and not so long. So I decided to maybe leave it like this with only 3 colors and shorter. And so I called Mom and I said, hey, people seem to like it shorter. So we decided to maybe keep it that way in 3 colors and make like a shorter version. So we'll see how it looks. It will have an applied neckband. This is the thing that I'm going to innovate with. I'm going to try an applied neckband and see how it looks like. It will be like applied I-cord, but with a neckband, with a ribbing. And then we have to do some pockets and the sleeve. I am not going to do it both ways because it's just myself and my mom, and we knit very, very slowly. And if I publish a pattern that has 2 versions, I have to knit both samples, and I don't think I want to do that or have the yarn for that. So it's going to be either. So if it works out with a shorter version, then it's going to be short. And if we think it's too short, then we're going to make it longer. There's also the fact that I thought one skein of each color was going to be enough, but definitely it's not enough. So that means that if we make it a 5-color sweater, this, like for my size, for a medium size, you need 10 skeins of yarn, which is a lot. So maybe also for like yarn purchasing purposes, then maybe it's a better idea to call it a 3-color project. But we'll see. Maybe I'm just waiting to recycle the long idea later, and I'll use it for something else. We'll see. So I'm going to now send this over to Mom. When we bring the groceries, I'm going to bring her the project so that she can continue working on that. And also, someone's singing very loudly. I don't know if you guys can hear, but someone's very, very happy singing. So the other thing I'm going to start is a little cowl, also for interpretations. I have only wound up the yarn. And this is the yarn that I'm going to use. This is Wobble Gobble yarn. And the colors that I picked are dogwood and rust. What is the length of your straight needles? Someone asks, Mrs. Real Yankee. These are 16-inch or 40 centimeters. And I definitely think there's a difference between 14 inches and 16 inches. I don't really like the 14 inches ones. I need the 16 inches ones. So this is going to be, this is living in my Hide and Hammer project bag that I love because I can carry like this, or I can carry it like that. If anyone likes it, I think Nu has her shop now has some stock, and I think that she's resuming activity this week. So shout out to her. It's really, really nice size. I'm going to use it for my cowl, but it's big enough for a big, big project. Someone says, you look so beautiful, you will need to show us your skincare routine. I actually have no skincare routine. I don't use anything on my skin. I have never had anyone compliment me on my skin. Thank you so much. I am the cheapest girl. I just shower my face when I shower. But my skin is not this nice, I promise. It's just because the definition of the screen is not very good. So this is DK. This is going to be a 2-skein project. And I think I'm going to do a bandana accent. And I'm thinking I'm going to do, or something like that. So that is for interpretations. It's going to have some little tassels, probably, we'll see. But I'm happy that I have already wound up the yarn and it's ready for me to make some plans and start. This is my next future project. And another thing that I realized is that I'm lacking something that it's small, not because I can carry it anywhere, like I'm not going to carry my knitting anywhere in this quarantine, but at night, I usually like to wind down. Do you say that, wind down? Like calm down and watch TV, and perhaps now Charlie and I are now starting to watch some series in foreign languages that I don't understand. So not English, that means maybe Polish series or Swedish series. So I have to look at the screen a lot more, and therefore I need something that I don't have to look at. So like, for example, the blue cardigan, I've been making so many mistakes because I cannot pay attention to both things. So what happens is that I have no idea what the series is about, but also I have a lot of errors in my knitting, which is not the purpose. Unwind or wind down. Thanks. Yes, I like to unwind in the evening, and I like to watch a series that I have to, be focused on. So I decided that I need another pair of socks. Now that I finished my Somerset socks, I'm going to start a new pair of socks. I would like to design something simple. So I would like to, not just follow other designers' pattern or make a vanilla sock. I would probably like to design something, but something simple that I can, maybe a repeatable pattern that I can memorize and follow easily. So I have decided I'm going to use this yarn. I have been wanting to design with it for a long time. This was a gift from the vendor. I have it in my Hohi & Co. box bag, perfect for socks, because in the evening I just push my handle down like that, and I have my sock project waiting for me. What happened, Maggie? I lost your feed. Oh, sorry, Maggie. So this yarn I brought with me when I went to Barcelona Knits, and I visited all the booths, and they are from Great Britain, but they were exhibiting in the first edition of Barcelona, which was in 2018. So the yarn is called the Little Grey Sheep, and it is British Stein fine wool, 4-ply, 330 meters, about 100 grams. So it's a sport weight. And it says hand wash with love, dry flat. So this is not superwash yarn. From a small family farm. There we go, because in case anyone is interested, from a small family farm on the Surrey-Hampshire borders, our Stein fine wool sheep are the result of years of selective breeding for fine fiber, raised with love, sheared by Susie at Christmas before being tucked up in the barn for the finest quality fleece, washed in Yorkshire and spun by John Arbon in Devon, then back to the farm to be hand-dyed by Emma. I love the story. When I visited, they told me all about their sheep. They had photos of the sheep. It's really, really, really nice yarn. It's the word I think that I would use is toothy, but not as toothy as Blue-Faced Leicester. It's very soft. So yes, I want to make something homey because I've been feeling this coziness. Don't forget that we're about to go into the autumn. So same as, all my fellow South American friends and Australian, everyone in Oceania. So I'm thinking all the cozy things that I'm going to make. And then the color is called How Sweet You Are. How Sweet You Are. Like that. So I thought it was perfect. So that's going to be my next cast on too. I have 2 projects planned for this week, but the socks are going to be definitely something simple. Lastly, before I leave you all, I want to show off something that I made a couple of weeks ago. And it's here. I made a plant hanger in macrame. So this, I cannot say that I have a tutorial for this. I had done a little course on macrame. Sorry, the pot is not very fancy, but I am not a fancy person. So a couple of years ago, maybe, my friend Ale treated me to a macrame course, and we went and spent a morning learning how to do macrame, which is like the easiest thing ever. Like nothing compared to knitting. This is really, really easy. Kids do macrame when they're very, very young. And so like it helped me get over the fear of macrame. I already knew by doing that workshop that it was something easy. Of course, I forgot how to do it. As soon as I left the workshop building, I already had forgotten how to do macrame. But the thing is that once you lose the fear of it, then you can look up any tutorial and like you can improvise and do different stitches and such. So I looked up some YouTube videos and I remembered how to do the spiral stitch and then the basic stitch macrame, and I combined them to make my plant hanger. I had a, how do you call it, a bobbin, a big bobbin of this cotton cord that you use for macrame. So I was just replicating my plants. That is something that I'm doing obsessively lately. I'm replicating all my plants. I'm gifting plants to my neighbors. I have so many house plants now that I don't have any more room on the floor for my plants. So I need to hang them on my wall. And I thought it was the perfect opportunity to pick macrame up again. So yes, if you have anything lying around, I'm planning to try macrame with wool, maybe. I don't know. I think it could look really nice. Maybe like a wall hanging something. So yes, I wish I would live in the woods because I don't have a forest outside my home, so I cannot, go out and collect this driftwood or nice branches to make beautiful wool hanging macrame things. But yes, that is one thing that I want to keep experimenting with. So if you have any more questions, then please make them now so that I can reply before I log off. Would you also give an update on Joji & Co bags, please? I love them. Yes, thank you for asking. So Joji & Co, which is our little bag company, is working. We operate from our home and we don't have to go to the post office to deliver your orders because we operate with DHL and they pick up stuff from us every day. Which is super safe. We just leave the bags in the front and they pick them up and there's no human contact or anything. So we're operating normally and all the makers are operating from their homes. What has been difficult is for those makers who have maybe like a friend or a neighbor come over and help them with the production. Those people are not allowed to go to their workplace. So I would say that our production capability is reduced by 50% or 40% because of the lockdown. But we are receiving new bags on Monday. We did an update yesterday, which was very successful. We are receiving new bags on this week, and we have a special collaboration with some of my dearest friends coming up in the next week or two. And I think you will be really, really happy about that. So Joji & Co is safe and everyone still has their jobs and we're trying to keep afloat and we're trying to stay active. Our updates might not be as big as they used to be because we prefer to do more updates with smaller quantities to have you guys engage with our company and remembering us, rather than put everything together at once. But we're definitely still producing our bags. Are you missing doing your pottery? I kind of, Lizzie asked this. I miss doing my pottery because I love doing my pottery. What I don't miss is the workshop that I was going to. I don't know if I mentioned this, but they were really not very nice people. They were very snooty and they were all, when you go to this room and everyone's friends with each other and you don't know anyone and no one talks to you and you're basically trying to do your own thing and trying to learn by yourself. So basically I was going to that workshop because they had materials and they had a wheel, but I had to look my techniques up on Pinterest and I had to, I didn't have any guidance. So I wish I was still going. I decided not to go this year because I had already done it for a year. I tried to do things for a period of 1 year, but I don't miss the place that I was going to. Actually, it was like something a bit stressful every Tuesday. Yeah. So I think is the cardigan design like a cloud? Not sure if you answered that already. This is a question by Nancy. So Nancy, if you're referring to the blue cardigan that I'm making, the blue lace cardigan, it's kind of similar. It's not built like a cloud, because like a cloud is from the top down. This one is sideways, but it also has a straight shoulder with no shaping, right? So it's not built like a cloud. This is a complex construction, and there are lots of fun steps involved. It's not difficult. There are lots of different steps that I will have to follow, but the fit, I think it will be similar to like a cloud. Are you continuing to work on your small diamond shapes shawl scarf? Yes, Nancy, you probably logged in after I mentioned it, but it's the next pattern that I'm going to publish. It's finished. It's been tech edited. I was just publishing something else this week, so I was talking about that. It will be next on my list. So thank you everyone for joining me live today, and I really, really appreciate all the messages. Have you completed your collaboration with Lion Brand Yarn, Barbara? I did not collaborate with Lion Brand Yarn ever. I just purchased Lion Brand Yarn because I liked it, and I finished the design, and it was published today. So thank you all so much. From now on, you will be talked to by a 40-year-old Joji. I hope you will notice how more mature I am now that I'm 40. And as I said, perhaps next time I'm not going to do a live video. I'm going to try to work out a recorded journal with my mom. But you've made this one super, super special for me. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.